Can everybody see me? If you want to just unmute yourself for a second, let me know if you can see me. That would be great.
Yes, very clearly.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. You can see me, you can hear me, all that good stuff.
Great.
Okay, amazing. Okay, and you see there's two Basya Kovacs, but one of them is my mom. Ma, I don't know what's going on with that, but I know it's you, not two of me. Okay, so welcome everybody. Good morning. Some of you are very punctual. 10 a.m. Hi, Chaya. How are you? Don't worry. You don't have to unmute yourself or answer.
How you doing?
Good. One second. Mom, what's up? It's in your email. It's in your email. The passcode's in your email.
See it, but I'll try to do it. I'll try to get it anyway. I just don't know if other people, so I'll try to get it.
Okay, I'm just gonna send it to you via email right now. Sorry, everybody. I'm talking to my mom. She's having trouble getting on. Okay. Which email, Ma? Guys, sorry, this is super unprofessional, but it's my mother. Okay, you got it. Okay, great. Okay, hello. Hi, so many friendly, familiar faces. I'm going to get started right away just because I like to give credit to the on-time people. We like to reward good behavior. We used to have a saying in the car. I used to have a, Mom, I'm going to share the story. I used to have one brother who was particularly challenging. He happens to be like potential Gadol Hador these days, but when he was a kid, he was like whack, and he like just drove us all nuts. And we used to take these road trips to Chicago, and he would just like make everybody miserable, and he would scream and he would fetch and he would, whatever, it just, just like run the entire show. And we used to have this saying that, so my mom used to like switch seats with him sometimes. Like he'll sit in the front and not bother anybody, and she'll sit in the back. And I said, Ma, I was a couple of years older than him, but I guess I thought I was wise. I said, Ma, we don't reward bad behavior. And that became a line in our house: don't reward bad behavior. So he got moved back to the back seat, and I am going to start punctuality on time so that we are rewarding good behavior. So welcome. I'm really so honored to see so many people joining, and people who are still joining. Welcome, some new faces, some familiar faces. And I'm really excited to share this with you. This is a workshop that I've been working on for a couple of weeks. And what I really want to do is just hone into the amazing self-growth and empowering tools that are literally right here in our Yiddishkeit, sitting here waiting for us. This is not to dismiss psychology, and this is not to dismiss therapy, and this is not to dismiss coaching. I am a coach, but it's just to really realize that Torah and our Torah sources are really there for us to live our best life and to empower us on our journeys. While we're waiting for a couple more people to join, if you could take a minute and just type into, if you know how to do this, type into your chat box, please, and just type one or two things that you are working on that can sort of frame this conversation. Meaning, like, if it's self-growth, if it's spiritual growth, if it's losing weight, if it's getting into shape, if it's being kinder to your spouse, if it's handling your teenagers better, if it's spending more time learning, anything that you would like to sort of grow, any area that you like to utilize as your growth area, you could type it in. When you type it in, there's two options. One is chat to everybody, and one is just chat to the host. So if you want to chat to everybody, chat to everybody. If you want to chat just to the host, then chat just to the host. But it will definitely give me context and framework also for what we're, who I'm talking to, and help sort of guide this conversation. It's not going to be too long, but it's going to be very powerful. So chat in, my friends, chat in. So far, I'm going to chat. I am working on saying more to Hillel. I'm getting you guys started. Okay. So let's get started. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Basya Kovacs. I'm a transformation coach. Some people know me in terms of coming to me to find a balanced approach towards weight loss. Many people now know me as a transformation coach in all areas, because I do believe that when we go deeper and when we go from the inside out, we uncover a lot of, a lot of different challenges and a lot of different things that we're struggling with. And that becomes what I end up coaching on. And for those of you who are my clients, I think you can attest to that. Nobody chatted anything into the chat box yet. So go for it, please. So I live
I'm not sure if the chat box is working,
let's see.
because for me, it's not working.
Okay, let me see if I can fix that. Oh, da, 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 da.
I'm afraid you might not be able to fix it.
Okay, I might have turned off that setting.
Right. Also,
but-
because I see a couple of people are logged in as Basya Kovacs, and that's just something was wrong with the link.
Okay, so but there, I don't know if there's anything I could do about it at this point. So I'm just going to keep rocking and rolling. And I guess if we can't, if we can't write it into the chat box, if anybody is comfortable sharing what they are working on, you can take a minute and say so, or just actually even better, just have something in your mind that you're focusing on that will frame this entire conversation. So like I was saying, I'm a transformation coach. I help people really uncover what's blocking them and take the next steps towards where they want to be going. And that's become my passion. And I really don't think that there's necessarily a massive difference between the spiritual and the physical, because I think that as Jews, our job is to take the physical and elevate it and make it spiritual. So if I'm working on taking better care of my body, and somebody else is working on saying more Tehillim, and someone else is working on getting to bed on time, all of these things end up being in the realm of spiritual. So let's jump right in. I have some thoughts about Chanukah that are going to blow you away. They're not necessarily your classic or typical, and we're going to jump right in. So this I heard from Rabbi Breitowitz. And so we all know the age-old machlokes of how we light candles. So just to review, right? And we all know this, Beis Hillel says that we start with one candle on the first night, and each night we work our way up, adding one more light each night, right? And we all know that this is based on the premise of Malin Bakodesh ve'ein moridin. We go up in spirituality and Kedusha, and we try not to go backwards, right? Then Beis Shammai comes and says that we start with 8 candles and we work our way down. Okay, so first of all, Beis Shammai knows all about this whole idea of Malin Bakodesh ve'ein moridin, like he knows stuff, right? And so, but yet he still maintains that this idea is a valid idea of starting with 8 and working downwards. So why is Beis Shammai saying this? And why do we end up ruling with Beis Hillel? And what in the world does this have to do with us? Good questions, right? So the Gemara explains that Beis Shammai's point of view is based on the idea that going down, right, 8 candles, 7 candles, 6 candles, 5 candles, like that, would be connected the parim, the bulls that we gave in the karbanos that we gave on Sukkot in the Beis Hamikdash, which totaled 70. And we could sort of do some, math. I can explain how we got to 70, but I'm not going to do that. But over there, we started with 13, 12, 11, 10, and we worked backwards, right? And so what is Beis Shammai? So why is Beis Shammai comparing the lighting of the candles to the bulls that we brought on Sukkot? And how would that override this concept that is such an important concept of Malin Bakodesh ve'ein moridin, right? He was surely aware of this concept. And most importantly, what does it have to do with us? So Rabbi Breitowitz brings down a spas emes that is so powerful. He says that the parim, the cows that we brought on Sukkot, right, were representative of the 70 nations. So why are we bringing bulls for the 70 nations on Sukkot? Like, what is happening there, right? So the idea there is that the sacrifices that we brought there are actually part of the promise that we are given over, that these negative outside forces are going to diminish, right? And by bringing 13 cows, 12 cows, 11 cows, 10 cows, we're sort of we're enacting what we want, what in the future and is going to happen, which is that the influence and the negative forces of the nations around us are slowly going to diminish, and that's a promise that we are given. And slowly we eliminate and each nation has its influence on us, and each nation is a little bit even part of us, right? And so going downwards on Sukkot represents the destruction of the evil forces that, right? And we know there's no time like the present to be talking about the evil forces of other nations, right? And so the machlokas is really different than what we think. The machlokas is really that the candles of Chanukah, which we all know, Ner Elokim Nishmat Adam, right? The soul of a person is compared to a flame. How are we mitaken our flame? Beis Hillel says we are mitaken by adding light, and Beis Shammai says we are mitaken by removing the evil, taking away the evil, right? And so now we understand why that might override the idea of Malam Kodesh Ve'ema reading, because both are kedusha, right? Both are going up in kedusha, right? So then, so now it's a good machlokas, right? So one is more like the asay tov, right? That would be adding the light and dispelling the darkness by adding the light. That's Beis Hillel, and Beis Shammai is saying the way we mitaken our neshama and the way we add kedusha is by slowly removing the forces of evil. What we understand is that in this day and age, in Gullus, we're weak, right? We're not as strong as we want to be. And actually thinking about all the bad and all the hardship and all the, right, and all the negative influences and all the things that we need to remove and how far we have to go, that would be immobilizing. That would be demoralizing. That would be depressing. That would not get us going. And I think we can all relate to that to a certain extent, right? Think about everything going on in the world, right? And think about the magnitude of the tragedy, right? And when we think about it, right, like how far we are from who we want to be and how much prayer is needed and how much, right, and how much help is needed, right? It's immobilizing. We almost freeze, right? But if we take it like Beis Hillel, right? If we take it like Beis Hillel and just add a little bit of light, just add a little bit of light, and then you'll build on it. It's not that we don't care about the Sor Meirah, and it's not that we don't care about that. It's what's going to get us going, what's going to keep us motivated, what's going to empower us, then what's going to immobilize us, right? So starting from the Sor Meirah and diminishing all the things that are, that we're doing wrong and all of that, that's for the future. For now, our job and the message of Chanukah is just add a little bit of light. And we could take that onto the physical level, we could take that onto the spiritual level, which is that. And by the way, this is not just for me and you. This is not just for weak people. This is the psak. This is the psak, which means it's good enough for Reb Chaim Kanievsky. It's good enough for the Vizhnitzer Rebbe. It's good enough for, right? This is the way we need to act in Gullus, is we need to just shine our little bit of light. And that could be having one nice conversation with your husband, or that could be, making a commitment to, handling your teenager with a little bit more humor, or that could be getting to sleep a little bit earlier, whatever it is, right? Because for the greater good, because again, it all boils down to that, right? And not to get heavy and burdened and focused on all the things that would sort of freeze us up and immobilize us. And this would help us get started. So just one thing, one parak of Tehillim, one chesed, make one salad, do that one workout, do that one class. And then, just like in the Chanukah Menorah, we can increase it slowly over time, right? And so that's why we rule like Beis Hillel until the time of Mashiach. I've seen this so clearly. There was a girl who created this app. I don't know if any of you know about it. Her name is Malia Feivelson. She did it with a couple other people. She created an app that actually it's called One Little Mitzvah. And at first I was like, resistant to it, like, don't one little mitzvah me. We have so much to do. We have hostages, we have soldiers, we have, right, we're fighting 5 wars, we're fighting internal wars, we have so much work to do, like, don't one little mitzvah me, right? But I saw this app taking off and I downloaded it, and it's the goal was 1 million little mitzvahs, and it's up to like almost 400,000 now. And it's so powerful to see how really this is so inspiring, because what would I have done if I didn't download the app? I would want to do everything, but I'd end up doing nothing, right? And that's literally what that app was. So it's not that we're completely negating the Sor Meirah. It's just that our starting point and our motivation comes from the Asay Tov, that one little light. So now let's go into the next idea, which is that there's 3 ways to light. I call them economy, basic economy, economy plus, and business class. Okay, so what's basic economy? Basic economy means 1 light per night for the whole household, which means day 1, you light 1 candle. The father or the mother, whoever's the head of the household, 1 candle. Day 2, 1 candle. Day 3, 1 candle. Right? The next way of lighting is the Mahadran, right? This is the economy economy plus level. This is one light per person for each night, I think it is, or add one night each night. Yeah, no, it's one, it's, oh, yeah. So Mahadran, the economy is one light per person each night, but we're still not adding, right? And then the Mahadran, Mina Mahadran, the business class, or the first class, is that we light one night the first night, and then we go to 2, and then we go to 3, and then we go to 4. And I didn't see this brought down anywhere, but I think it's very clear what's happening is that this is exactly what Beis Hillel wanted. This is exactly what he said. He said, if we make it good enough to do just that one little night, one little light each night without even adding, that's good enough. And what happens then? Nobody does that. Anybody know anybody who just likes, right? Unless we had to, unless we were in times where we didn't have access to it or whatever it is. Nobody literally does that. Nobody, right? No, everybody, I don't know if everybody in the family lights, but we certainly go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, right? Because when we have that starting point of just that one little light, that's when we're able to then go and add, and go and add and add another light. But realize the power of what Beis Hillel is saying. He is saying that even if, right, and of what this basic economy is, even if it's just the head of the household, and even it's just one candle on the first night, one candle on the second night, that's enough. Why is that enough? Why is that enough? First of all, because of what the head of the household does, everybody does, right? The second reason is because if I do it consistently, if I do anything consistently, I change completely, right? And anytime you ever go to a levaya or a eulogy, right? What do people say? They don't say like, oh, like sometimes they like help people, or like every once in a while they like gave someone a friendly word, right? He never missed a minyan. He always had a kind word for people. She was the first one to come to the Chevra Kadisha. She was the one who hosted all the people that needed a place every time. Always, right? It's the consistency. We have the sign on my old, in my house in Chicago, on the kitchen door, like we call them Abba-isms, things Abba always say, right? When we, with repetition, we define ourselves. Just with repetition, even not with growing, just by taking that one thing and doing it 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 until it becomes a part of us. Chances are, like Beis Hillel, like how we pass with Beis Hillel and how we see Mahadran, it will grow, it will spread to the family, right? But just becoming someone who is always this, right? That alone is the mitakin, that mitakin arner, right? And that little line defines you, and you end up embodying that, right? And Beis Hillel knew this. So now I have a little idea from Rabbi Emanuel Bernstein that sort of ties into this a little bit. He brings down from the Kornitzer, who's a descendant of the Chassam Sofer, and I do not rattle these. I have notes in front of me. Okay. So he says, and he says, and we all know this, I think most of us know this, that the flame of the menorah has to be situated at least 3 tvachim up and not more than 10 tvachim high. That's that's where it's supposed to be. And if we light the menorah higher than 20 amos, we haven't been yotzei. We haven't been yotzei. Right. So what does that mean? So the 20 amos, right, is a representation of our maximum vision. 20 amos is about, I don't know, 30 feet, right? We get 30 feet far, 30 feet high. We can't really see past that, right? And so then it becomes outside. It almost has nothing to do with us, right? And so then when we light that menorah, we're kind of remembering the Chashmonaim, but we're not like identifying with it. It's like, oh, those people who did that big thing in those days, right? And so you're not even yotzei. Because the whole point of Chanukah is to take the lessons of the Chashmonaim, which we'll get into in a little bit, take the lessons of the Chashmonaim and make them ours today, here, how we are, right? It's not other people. It's not other people. You do it too high. It's like, oh, remember that cool family who did amazing things, right? And we learn about these stories about, right, all the children who didn't bow down, and oh my God, I can't do that, right? We're not asking you to do that. We're asking you to take the lessons and make them our own by adding that little light. And so when the halachos, right, the halachos of the menorah and the height of the menorah really identifies, really helps us identify that. So we do have to have goals, right? But they can't be impossible goals. They can't be these massive all at once type of goals, right? Sometimes we get inspired and we want to do everything all at once, and then like we just do nothing, right? So the idea is that we can envision, but not past our, right? Not past our vision. Think big, or even think small. Even 3 tvachim is okay. Think small, think or think big, but don't think out of the realm, because then actually what happens is absolutely nothing. Right. And that's kind of the same, the same idea of what we were saying, but it's so incredible that you could see it in the halachos of the height, right? Chanukah needs to be real for us, right? When you ask somebody, do you want to be a billionaire? I don't know if there's any billionaires listening now, but most people will say no. And the reason why they'll say no is maybe because they don't know how, or maybe because they know a lot of people who are very rich and miserable, but it's just because they can't even dream it. They don't know, right? It's there, it's somewhere else, right? And so we have to be careful that when we are working on things, it needs to be reachable, not impossible. If they say, if you can perceive it, you can, if you can perceive it, you can achieve it, right? And then I heard this powerful idea from Rabbi Farhi. I forgot his first name, but he's an incredible and actually quite funny speaker. And he brings this even closer to home. He talks about how we know everything is in the Torah, right? Everything is actually not just in the Torah, everything is actually in Bereshis, right? And this includes Galus Yavan and the story of Chanukah, which means that for us, it's all history. Torah, right? Bereshis, Shmos, right? Dvarim, Chanukah, Purim, Pesach, right? It's all in the past, but it's not really like that. Chanukah itself is referred to in the Torah, and I'm going to tell you why this is important, because it's going to bring it home so powerfully. What the Medrash tells us exactly where in Bereshis Chanukah is referred to. He tells us that the words of Bereshis, where it says "V'choshech al panei tehom," right, during creation, before there was light, "Choshech al panei tehom," there was darkness, like a deep darkness, like the darkest darkness you can imagine, and you can't even imagine it. And that's Galus Yavan. That's referring to Galus Yavan. But then listen to the words that the Medrash brings down that explains how the darkness of Galus Yavan, right? So right, that sheer nothingness, that sheer blackness. Listen to how he says. He says the pure darkness was kitvu, that they forced them kitvu al keren hashor she'ein lachem chelak ba'olam haba. The Yavanim made the Jews write down on their horns of their oxen that you don't matter, that you have no place in Elokei Yisrael. Sorry, she'ein lo chelak ba'Elokei Yisrael, right? So listen to this. This is so powerful. The blackness of Yavan was not because we couldn't learn Torah. The blackness of Yavan wasn't because we took away bris milah. That deep nothing blackness wasn't because they put avodah zarah and defiled our Beis Hamikdash, right? And all of that we can feel how horrible that would be. It was because they had to write on the horn of the ox that they have no portion in God and no portion with the God of Israel. That's the darkness of Yavan. So what is this horn of this ox, and what's it got to do with me? Right? So we live in cars and houses and all that, but they lived agriculturally, right? They lived agriculturally, which means the ox was in front of them as they plowed. They didn't ride on the oxen, right? They didn't ride on the oxen. They had donkeys and horses for that. They had the oxen right in front of them. They pushed the oxen, right? And it pushed while they plowed, and it pushed while they planted, and it pulled their sacks, right? That's what they saw all day long. The horn of the ox was literally their billboard. Think about that. The horn of the ox was their billboard. It was there all day. When they woke up in the morning, when they went to sleep at night, it was their billboard. It was their commercials. It was their Super Bowl ad. It was their subliminal message, right? Which means that the Greeks knew the same thing that our multi-billion-dollar advertising industry knows, which is that subliminal messages start to add up. And so think about you're thirsty and you want to drink a Coca-Cola, right? You don't want to drink a warm syrupy cola. You want a Coca-Cola, right? That message goes in again and again, and it permeates our brain without even realizing it, right? No one ever thinks, please give me a generic cola, syrupy flavored, right? It's got to be a good Coca-Cola because I've seen it so many times. Product placements, right? Super Bowl ads, billions of dollars, because these subliminal messages penetrate our brain. And the real blackness is not when they take away the Torah. We know what happens when they fight with us like that. We fight back. Look at what's going on right now. right? It's not when they take away bris milah, we fight back. It's not when they wage war with us, we fight back. The real darkness is that in this quiet way, we slowly get the subliminal message that we lose our belief that we have any place with the God of Israel. We're just nothing. We're not worthy. Nothing we do matters, right? And that's the mess. That was the real darkness of Galus Yavin. And I think that if everybody thinks about it for a minute, we can, right? We can all relate to it, right? We still have this Galus, right? It's not ancient history. We get this message that we're not enough. We get this message that what we're doing is not enough. We get this message that it doesn't count. Just keep numbing, just keep scrolling, just stay on Instagram, don't do anything, right? Self-care, rest, right? Because we don't have this worthiness, because we don't even value the little thing, which goes back to the Beis Hillel idea, right? And slowly but surely we get the subliminal message that it doesn't count. We aren't worthy. We're not, right? Hashem doesn't really, we're not part of Hashem's nation anymore, right? Stay numb, right? And Instagram gives us the messages that we're not enough, right? And this darkness and this subliminal message is that we don't really have a place in the greatness of Israel, right? And that was the blackness. And that's the menorah. That's the light of Chanukah. The light of Chanukah is to remind us that we do matter. Our tiny light matters. Our tiny actions matter. Our tiny steps matter. And the consistently relighting our tiny flame is enough. And we'll always have a place with Hashem in Bnei Israel. And it's like the most comforting, and it's the most comforting idea for people, especially who don't feel like they're that they're doing enough, or that they're measuring up, or they're living up. Just light that candle and light it again and light it again and light it again and light again, and it's enough. And then I heard, I'm not going to go too long, but I want to just tell this point that I heard from Rav Eitan Feiner. So he brings about Al Hanisim, right? So listen to the words of Al Hanisim. I don't know if any of you ever thought of this, but I didn't, and now I did, and now I can't believe I never did. Like, once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Right, so we go Al Hanisim, Bial Porkan, Bial Gvuros. I don't know if we know what Porkan is, but we know what Gvuros are. We're strong, and Chuos, and right, and we for sure know what Nisim are, right? So we thank Hashem for the Nisim and the miracles and all those good Chuos and stuff, right? And then we say Bial HaMilchamos. Hold on a second. I understand if you're going to say that we won the Milchamos that we won, but we just said that we had the Nisim and we won, and now we're thanking for the Milchamos. So why are we thanking for the fight? Right? You ever think about that? I never thought about it, and now I can't unhear it, right? Al nisma al chuvos al milchamos she'asisa lavosenu, she'asisa lavosenu, that you did, the wars that you did, right? It's not the winning of the war. We're thanking for the wars that you created. And I think that we're living in this right now. We can really take this home, right? That the battle, right? The battle, and again, I'm not going to take this on a global level right now to what's happening here at Israel, but just on our personal, right? Just on our personal level, we thank Hashem for the struggle. The struggle is the opportunity for growth. The point here is the battle. It's not what the point was, originally before the Chet, but now that we have, right? But now, right after the Chet Adam, now the point here is we struggle and we grow and we be metakin and we're thankful for it, right? And it's hard and it's blood and it's sweat and it's guts and it's tears, right? But it's also the best. How many of you have struggled for something and then been able to, right? And then been able to see how it shifted, and that feeling, right? And people who learn Torah and are Melos Torah, they could feel it. And people who are working on their relationships, they could feel it. And people who are working on their self-care, they can feel it. And people who are working on their marriages, hello, Yehuda, my husband just got on, they can feel it, right? It's the struggle is the joy. The struggle, obviously, if we're never, ever, ever getting anywhere, so we need to figure out a better strategy, right? But the struggle, the milchama, we're thanking for it because it's what gives us our, right? It's what gives us our opportunity to grow, right? How else am I going to grow? I'm not willingly bringing myself problems, right? I'm willingly just being comfy-wumpy. Right? But Hashem gives us perfectly designed, unique opportunities for our growth. That is the milchama, and we thank Him for it. And that's the message of Chanukah, right? It's the best feeling in the whole wide world. The inner battle, right, that makes everything hard is also what's rewarding. And sometimes we forget that life is not chilling, and that self-care is not, is not just constant, right? There's also growth to be had. And right, so we do want to be comfortable and we do want it to be easy, but when it is hard and when we push and when we, and when we grow, there's nothing to be more thankful about, right? And then we can also see this on a global level. And it's really not my place to say it because it's much bigger than anything I could possibly say. So I can't say thank you, Hashem, for this war that's going on in Eretz Yisrael. But what I could say, right? What I could say is that before this, we were kind of asleep. There was kind of that darkness. We were kind of numb. We forgot that the Goyim hate us, but we forgot, right? Why did they hate us? We forgot our preciousness. We forgot our land. We forgot our achdus. We forgot to push. We forgot to fight, right? We were kind of in darkness. And of course, we're davening for the hostages to be back and we're davening for everyone to be safe. But what has this milchama done, right? What has this milchama done for us? It has united us, right? It has reminded us that the Goyim do not love us. We need to love each other and stay together, right? And hopefully it has inspired us to take, to push a little bit and to grow a little bit, right? And so when we say, it's not my words, but when we say, al hanisim val milchamos shasisa lavosenu b'yamim hahem b'zman hazeh, also now, right? So it's not even me saying it, so it's okay if I say it. And so I think that being, going back to what we were talking about before, which is when you're picking something to be working on, and whether you're going to do it, basic economy, just day after day after day, or whether you're going to do it Mahadran min Mahadran coach class, which is growing a little bit, right? Pick something, right? Don't diminish it, right? And don't diminish it and don't dismiss it. That's the Yetzer Hara, and that's what immobilizes us. And one more point that Rabbi Feiner brought down, which is that there's two holidays that don't have Havdalah, and one of them is Chanukah. I think in Purim is the other one, and the Kribi some more, but this is the one that he was talking about, right? Because the idea here is that there is no Havdalah. There is no separation between Chanukah and real life. There's no Havdalah. Every single thing we're talking about is how we're supposed to be living every single day of our real life. We're supposed to be lighting consistently, right? Lighting our light consistently. We're supposed to be trying to add if we want to go Mahadran Mina Mahadran. We're supposed to be, if we're ahead of the household, we're supposed to be making sure that we're setting that example, right? And we're supposed to be remembering that we do have a chelak with Hashem no matter what, and right, and just reigniting that spark and taking that one little thing. And so there's no Havdalah because there's no separation, right? And I think we can all feel this. I don't know how many of you, but like day one of Chanukah, we're rocking, we're rolling, we're having fun. Day two, we're doing our shtick, right? I don't know if you have like different ways of dancing or different ways of singing. Like in our house, sometimes things get really out of control because that song is long, right? And we do, right? So we're circling and then we're circling the other way and then we're lifting each other up, and right, it takes a lot of energy. By 6, 7, and 8, right? It starts to get a little bit old, if we're being honest, right? And that's when we push ourselves. That's when we push ourselves. So it's not hard to light the candle, but right? But the lighting of the candle is not the lighting of the candle. The lighting of the candle is recreating that spark. Again, let's go. Everybody gather. Everybody gather. We're doing it again. We're doing it again, right? And if we can do it for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days, so now we're in real life already, right? Now we're in real life already. Right. Once we're past day 6 and 7, right? 8 is like the next level. So that, right. And if we can push ourselves and give it that same, that same passion and bring that same energy to it consistently. And this is not just about lighting the menorah. This is about every single thing we're working on. Day 1, day 2, day 3, it's exciting. Day 4, it's less exciting. Do it anyway. Day 6, it's less exciting. Do it anyway. Day 10, it's less exciting. Do it anyway. Right. Day 20, it's less exciting. And then it defines you. And then if we could up it to business class, awesome, right? But even if we just keep doing it consistently, then it defines you. He brings down a story, Eitan Feiner brings this down also from Rabbi Biederman. So he had his beautiful menorah display, and I guess he had candles for everybody in his family, and his menorah setup, like a lot of us, was near a wall. And he probably did it Mahadran with olive oil, right? And there's a lot of smoke coming up, and his wall by the end of Chanukah is black. So one of his students said to me, "Let me wipe that for you." I said, no. I want that black smoke there. I want Chanukah in my house all year round. I want it there all year round, right? I want that spark, even if I can't see the fire, but I can see the smoke of the fire. I want that to stay with me all year round. So if you go to Rabbi Biederman's house, you're going to see a nice big black splotch on the wall, right? So let's hold on to these messages of Chanukah. And I'm glad that we're having this now before Chanukah, so that we could sort of absorb them in, right? And we see how right, and the takeaway is that until Mashiach comes, we pass like Rav Hillel, do the Aseh Tov, do the little light, even a basic level. We see that 20 amos is too high. It's got to be practical to us. We see that the darkness of Yavan, right? Take that darkness of Yavan away and stop. We have to stop allowing the subliminal message that we don't, right? That we don't matter, because we do. It's just that little light. It's just that little light, right? And finally, right, the thanking Hashem for the beauty of the struggle, whatever you're working on. So I asked everybody at the beginning to write down one thing that they're, kind of focusing on. So now go back to that one thing, right? And thank Hashem that you're struggling with that, because through that struggle is going to be where your growth comes from. And that struggle is not an accident. That struggle is perfectly designed for you. And it doesn't matter if it's physical or spiritual, because we elevate the physical, right? And I'm just going to end also because someone's knocking on my door. They need my office, but also because I said this would be half an hour, that I think that this Chanukah is a real time of Gila Shechina. The 36 lights are connected, the 36 hours of daylight before there was, of light that were there before there was sun, right? Sun was not created on day 1 or 2 or 3. It was created on day 4. So day 1, day 2, day 3, each had 12 hours of light. So what was that light? It wasn't sunlight. What was that light? 12, 24, 36, right? The 36 candles. It was Hashem. It was the Or HaGanos, right? And so there's a tremendous amount of light that's flowing in. And if we could use that and just spark our little light, and may this Chanukah actually truly embody the messaging of Alanisim, Rabim, Ba'ad Ma'atim, Tameim, Yad Tehorim, so that we should have the victory over ourselves, but also continue this military victory. And actually, Malia, who's on here right now, she's the one who created this app. So if anybody wants to know more about this app, please message me, or I could put you in touch with Malia. It's really powerful and incredible. And if anybody wants to reach me, my phone number, 347-938-9113. All right, guys, thank you so much for being on. And please, and one more thing I want to add. Sorry, I keep saying that, but remember that the inspiration that we get sometimes fuels the spark, right? But action lights the flame. So before you go back into your day, just figure out what is the action plan that I'm going to do every day. I'm not right, because yeah, for the 8 nights of Hanukkah, we relight the spark, but then life happens and it's dark and it's winter, and right, what am I going to do? What action am I taking that I'm going to embody and do consistently over time? And Mirz Hashem, it should grow. Mirz Hashem, it should spread to your families, and we should have the Geula Shlema. Thank you all for being on. That's my husband, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, take care.